Thank you so much, ladies. I got it from my mama. And while we get a lot of unbelievable, I think, great medical advice from our mamas and the generations that come, the greatest gift that I've been given from my mother, literacy, a love of reading, something that I get to pass on to my child, and I can see the difference it's making in both of my kids' lives. September is our time. It's Literacy Month in South Africa, a chance to go beyond just reading and ask what it truly means to be literate in our country today. What does that mean for leadership, for critical thinking? Literacy isn't just a school issue, it does shape leadership. It creates opportunities, it dictates how we engage with society after school, and many schools are facing enormous challenges, but behind the scenes, some very passionate South Africans are quietly building bridges between teachers, parents and community leaders and the students themselves. So what's working and how can we support it better? Most important question of the day. And joining us are educator and school leadership coach, I'm underselling him here, Ridwan Samodin, and strategic communicator and education advocate, making her debut in TV land, Dorcas Dube, to share some insights on literacy as a tool for long-term social change. Have we not just saved the world? Pick up a book and we'll be okay. I love you because you're nodding your head to everything I say this morning. And I think that we need that kind of shared energy and focus. But Dorcas, I'm going to start with you because you are terrified to be on TV. You look amazing.
Really? Thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you for having me.
It's an absolute pleasure because we understand the purpose behind what you are doing here. Is it as simple as saying, we need to change this? What do we need to change? Let's just work on that. Or does it lie deeper? When you approach an opportunity like Literacy Month and get your spotlight, what's ringing in your ears?
Sure, thank you. Thank you for that question. It's very interesting. So when we think about literacy, we always think about reading and writing, but there is more to literacy. Really, literacy can change lives. And the drivers that we can think of is just not only our educational changes. Of course, 82% of our grade 4s can't read for learning. They can't even read for comprehension. But there are other changes and drivers that come into play. You know, what comes to mind is your economic changes. When you're literate, you are employable. You can be an entrepreneur and you can add to the, to the economy of the country. There's also your political changes. And if you're literate, what happens? You can hold your leaders accountable. And you can read the policies and question what is in those policies. However, what we don't realize is that the other fundamental change that people don't think about is really your generational changes. So when your parents are literate, the chances that you will also be literate are super high. My parents were educated, hence I'm in this room today.
It's incumbent on you, yeah.
Right? And speaking about literacy. So literacy is not only about reading and writing, but it's also about changing lives. And really, at the epicenter of literacy, I must say that it is dignity, it is equity, and it is also driving towards sustainable progress.
Can we have a microphone to drop here, please? Can you just hand this incredible human being a microphone? Now, everything that you are saying there speaks to active citizenship. Sure. Contributing within your community on a whole different level, but it's also a level up. It's a gateway. If you can put it in a child's path, once they've gone through it, they are never the same. How do you keep going, set against the ecosystem that you've had to ply your trade in? Very frustrating when you see the numbers so low, the reading for meaning so low, when that has to be kind of encountered from an educator's perspective. How frustrating is it to try to teach a child who can't read with meaning?
Let me first of all start by saying good morning, everybody. My name is Ridwan, and I read one book at a time.
I love him, man. I love you for saying that. He's been waiting all week to say that.
That's the thing that's been keeping me going over 2 decades of being in the system, 4 decades actually. But having said that, your future depends on your ability to read for meaning.
Simple as that.
As simple as that. You know, when we look overseas, we say we are reading our degrees. In South Africa, we study. And there's a big difference between reading and studying. Reading makes one complete. And so if we can give the child the love for reading, we're setting him or her up for life.
Completely. And it's where, for instance, I would inject emotion when reading with my son. And for him, he can feel the difference when he can read with meaning in terms of performing that. I get that completely. How do we fight this? We love to hide behind red tape. We love to hide behind challenges because there are so many. And it's easy to take a step back to say it's impossible to get this right. How do we shift this system? How do we start bringing about a proactive approach in the space before pointing fingers and blaming? We get it. We understand the frailties. How do we move forward?
Yeah. So blaming and pointing fingers, it's very easy, right?
Yes.
It's very, very easy. And we need to move from that. And moving from that, really, I love saying there's a quote that says, he or she holds the problem, also holds the solution. So we've got a problem here. It's our responsibility, a collective responsibility, to come up with a solution. And what we've realized with our program known as Leaders for Education is that when you equip your school principal, the school dynamic changes totally. Your SMT is energized, your teachers are ready to lead, your pupils become part of the school, and what's very interesting is that the community also gets involved. And what happens is that the school becomes the center of community. So basically, what I would encourage society to do is to concentrate on school leadership, because the fish rots from its head. Once we get the school principal in check, everything falls in place.
Yeah, we're going to ask our principals how many books they are reading. Just one a day is enough. Read one. It is just enough. Now, I'm going to get into the conversation in terms of how do we prepare leadership within schools, those class leaders, even the students themselves, to lead with their own enthusiasm. It's Literacy Month. Everybody needs to pick up a book. Now, we're starting to understand the relevance of reading with meaning now extends far beyond just success at school. It's life. And we'll continue this discussion in just a moment.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back to maybe the most important conversation I've ever had on the show, and I absolutely mean that. In part 2 of our conversation for Literacy Month, we're going to look at practical, everyday ways, accessible ways to support literacy at home, at work, and across sectors within leadership spaces within school. It isn't just a school issue, it is a national investment into our future. Simple as that. And when children read, they imagine. When leaders read, they listen. Our guests are going to reinforce that, and they are here to explore what we can do within our own spaces to strengthen this literacy chain across generations, because it is a generational gateway, as has been pointed out by Dorcas, who's been amazing in her television debut. Read one book a day is all you need. Is that it? Is that what our literacy leadership looks like? No, I know we can make it quite practical, because the joy is all you do need is a book. But what should literacy leadership look like in school and outside of it?
You need to model the reading. As a principal, you need to tell your staff that what happens within those 4 walls is the moment of truth. And the place and wall charts and resources tells the child that he is important. And so what I did was, apart from the teachers making the classrooms literate, I made the entire school literate by naming the corridors, putting billboards of teachers outside the classroom to enhance and to amplify the message that reading is important.
How does a school respond when you offer them that opportunity?
Well, we're doing that in our schools, trying to encourage the leaders, that we firmly say that a leader breeds a reader.
Completely.
And a reader breeds leaders. And so with that in mind, like I said earlier, your future depends on your ability to read for meaning. And so we need to get that right. We need to instill the love for reading at an early age, and with that, critical thinking.
Completely, and I can joke about what social media, at the moment, the current algorithms are set up against our children, unfortunately. They're to weather away, to break down. Unfortunately, the intellectual baseline is falling because dopamine is climbing, and we have to take this on board. If we don't create a love of these other activities, we're not going to be able to compete with the dopamine release that comes from these quick little injections. But when you discover a good book, when you discover what you can do with the tools, these soft skills that come with that reading for meaning, that's when the magic happens. How do we do that in a practical sense, though? How do we inject this love of reading through the NGOs, through those amazing trust-based organizations that already have the community? How do we help them?
Thanks. So 5 months ago, we set as a team, we're like, how can we create a culture of reading in our schools? Because fundamentally, that's what we want to do.
It's culture, it's lived, yeah.
So we came up with an educational program known as Leaders for Literacy, LFL. in short. And we then partnered with different organizations in the literacy space. So we work with Kanyisa Inanda Community Project in Durban, in KwaMashu. And we also partnered with FEM, Education Foundation. So from this is different players, but all towards the vision of increasing literacy in the country. So we said we all bring our expertise into this one big pot because the vision is clear. We want to increase literacy in our schools. And what we've realized is that one of our schools actually on the Leaders for Literacy program in KwaMashu, one of the school principals was like, when I walk down the corridor of the grade 3 learners, it's utter silent. All I hear is the school teacher encouraging people to read, but I never hear these learners reading. But now, after the program, all she hears is the little kids trying to read, practicing their syllables. It's just so encouraging. It's so encouraging. So it's testimonials like that that keeps us going.
And that opens up the imagination.
Right.
And that's where the magic of creativity happens. There is obviously going to be a mark made on the learners, but with the educators that you've worked with, when they start unlocking this magic of representing the culture of reading and literacy, how much of a change have you seen in the educators that you've helped? Because I know you've helped many schools and educators. I know it unlocks the magic for the students, but for the educators, what does this mean?
You know, there's a spark that lights up your eyes when you're an educator. When you see that learner being able to read or identify a syllable for the first time. So it's that kind of magic that you see and that you have to live yourself. There has to be a lived experience. When you see that child starting, I mean, a learner enters the school without an ability to read. The aim is by 6 months in grade 1, you should be able to read. I have the greatest respect for grade 1 teachers who's able to take a child from absolutely nothing to be able to read.
Oh, I absolutely love this. Is there a challenge that you can put out there, seeing as you are so perfectly positioned to do this, Dorcas? What would you like to challenge our viewers to do this Literacy Month?
So this Literacy Month, what I'll challenge our viewers to do is that if you're a parent, take 10 minutes out of your busy schedule. We're all busy, right? And read to your child. And if you're a professional, volunteer at our public schools, go read aloud in our schools. And if you are in the community, why not open up book clubs and reading corners and ensure that we create a culture of reading? You know, we can't leave reading just to our educators to instill that in our students. But reading is a collective effort, and you must be the contribution that you want to see.
I love you, man. She's smashed her television debut. Absolutely amazing. She was in very good hands, though. I think an ideal mentor to have in this space. I think we are blessed to have both of you working within the ecosystem. Thank you so much. We will keep all of the details that we can pertaining to everything that you're doing up on our social media pages. Don't be scared to collaborate. Don't think working with someone who is more advanced along their path is going to highlight your frailties. It doesn't work like this. We all rise together. But ultimately, it starts with us, me, myself, picking up a book, read one just a day, and you are on the right path. Pick up a book, start reading, let the imagination take flight. But don't do that right now. All I want you to do right now is look at your screen, because magic is about to happen.